Yacky Doodle was a pretty sad and stupid show, but a lot of people remember it, so we may as well talk about it. It starred an orphaned duckling who never anybody loved or wanted alive, other than a bulldog named Chopper, who was so fat and smelly that it had no friends, so it adopted the duckling more or less. There was no legal process. There is no legal process for a dog adopting a duckling, I guess, but perhaps there should. The episode began with Yacky Doodle spitting all over the grass and causing the homeowner to chase after him with a rolled up newspaper. If you haven't seen the show, you would know that Yacky Doodle has a speech impediment that causes him to spit when he talks, and this is a big reason why the character failed, and young people have no idea who the bloody hell he is. Yacky Doodle attempts to fly out of the yard to escape the neighbor's wrath, but instead falls into the rival fox's mouth, who begins chewing rather loudly and obnoxiously and eating him alive. Some footage of immigrants from a third world country getting blown up by landmines is shown, and then the episode resumes with Yacky Doodle comedically standing inside of the fox's mouth and slowly falling into his mouth and esophagus, all slow motion style. Hanna-Barbera is infamous for low budgeting to ensure maximum profits on their poorly drawn cartoons. So yeah, that was probably it, but still I wasn't laughing. Yacky Doodle proceeds to fall into the fox's stomach and he begins kicking around while being coated in the fox's gastric juices and burning alive from acidic digestion processes, screaming out, "You're pregnant! Try me, you pregnant!" That is not how foxes get pregnant. Ducks cannot get foxes pregnant. So I'm not exactly sure what it was that I was watching. That and the duck was way too young to get anyone pregnant. So I considered calling the cops to have William Hanna and or Joseph Barbera arrested for creep shit. But given that they were both already dead, it would just have to be some sort of posthumous thing. So I kept the phone in my pocket and decided to slander them on some Discord servers and Steam messages instead. Yacky Doodle proceeds to continue on some spitball rant about how he's a boy and not a girl, but wishes he was born a girl, and some seemingly spontaneous ramble about a 70 to 78 acre private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Time to shut up a pipe bomb! A very much mutilated Yacky Doodle exclaimed, matted down fur-looking feathers, missing eyeball, another barely hanging on to an exposed occipital nerve that was hanging down into the fox's very much exposed rectal hole. The duckling, Yacky Duck, Yacky Doodle, he Yacky Doodle sets up a pipe bomb using the fox's large and small intestines as pipes, tying their coating together and injecting gunpowder through some sort of medical syringe he presumably stole from the local hospital. "Okay, boomer!" Yacky Doodle exclaimed as the bomb set off, causing the cantankerous fox the most horrible kind of fourth-degree burns, running around and being burned alive after parts of his skull, rib cage, backbone, and who even knows what else, went flying in some highly realistic detail that it has no use in an extremely low-budget Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Clearly, this fox had no backbone to begin with. He was always attempting to murder an innocent duckling instead of an adult-sized duck. Though this was the point of enlightenment for me. Like some sort of fat Buddha sitting under a tree, passing gas or something. The point of enlightenment. Was that duckling truly so innocent? He spat on people when he talked. Also, he stole a syringe from the local hospital and knew how to make a bomb using human sort of fox intestines. I popped out the VHS tape and handed it over to the police, who shook their head no and gave it back to me. What do you want us to do? Put it into the detention center for questioning? Him and his bad cop buddy began chuckling and pointing their index fingers collectively at me. I snapped the VHS tape over my leg and sent Hanna-Barbera a malware image of an ASCII art Yakky Doodle pulling down its pants, although it never wears any in the cartoon. Another point of concern. And taking a dump all over their studio logo. They offered me a job as an intern. I refused. If you ever come across a baby duck that spits when it talks, extend it the flag and finger and walk away whistling Dixie. I hope he never does find his mommy. She probably left him in a dumpster on prom night, as she did it for a reason. Oh, I wish I was Atlanta Cotton.